Happy Saturday, Patriots across this great nation. Tonight, we are going to do something, a first on Langley Outdoors Academy. We are going to offer an official response to a Bloomberg propaganda video against our gun rights from Doctors for Gun Control. This is something that was brought to my attention by Bearing Arms. They asked for gun tubers to respond to this video, and you know what? Challenge accepted. Let's get it, and we have an opportunity. You, watching this video, can counter their gun control propaganda just by the sheer views that we're going to get. Send this everywhere you can, because right now they're at 8,400 views on their propaganda in 2 days. Let's see how bad we can nuke this from orbit with our views. And with that said, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. This one, I have a feeling you're going to love, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. All right, my brothers and sisters, let's get into this, because this is what spurred this video. This is from Bearing Arms. Gun tubers need to post response to Bloomberg's propaganda video. That came out today. And like I said in the intro, mission accepted. All right, so the reason that I'm going to do this is because there's a few things that are very specific lies that the gun controllers have been doing, particularly from Bloomberg and the Everytown for Gun Safety machine, including the Trace. They've put out consistent content citing the fact that the guns are now the #1 cause of all children's deaths in the United States over cars. It's an abject lie. We've covered it multiple times on this channel. They've called out every possible way against our gun rights with manipulated data against your rights for basically to achieve their dreams. They're lying to you in order to give up your rights for their benefit. Check this out. And this is where I kind of took a little lead rope from Bearing Arms. This is where gun tubers with their massive audience need to step in and correct the record. Videos are a great way of communication. I hope they produce good, truthful content to counter the lies. And this is where I'm going to show you how many views it's got. 8.4K in 2 days. Let's nuke this from orbit. Let's see how high we can get this to counter the misinformation that I'm about to show you. Now, let's get it. Here's the first clip. Let's not waste any time.
This is not meant to be sensational, right? There's no need for us to sensationalize any data. But the truth of the matter is, for the last 2 to 3 years now, guns have been the leading cause of death among kids.
Abject lie. Flat out. I can statistically prove it. I've done videos on it when they first released this data. This is an abject lie. The reason that they go with this point is because it's, oh my gosh, more than cars? We've got to do something. Now, here's my caveat. I don't think any child should be a victim of this. I don't think any child should experience this in their lives. But the fact that they're going and manipulating the data and including 18, 19, and 20-year-olds who are adults as children to basically boost their numbers to say this talking point is disgusting. That's just the first one. But that's what I've said on multiple videos. Check out what Bearing Arms said. This is not meant to be sensational, referencing the quote from this video. Absolute lie. Everytown has been spreading this for several years now. We've pointed it out here before, but we'll summarize it again. The way gun controllers come to this conclusion is by including the deaths of 18 and 19-year-old adults as kids. They're lumping in teenagers involved in gang violence with rare instances of young children gaining access to unsecure guns. This is an intentional deception, as Cam wrote last month, citing John R. Lott Jr.'s analysis, and it's cited in the description box if you want to dive further. That is given to you on 2 different sources, myself and also Bearing Arms, and by Dr. John Lott. This is an easy one to disprove. But again, let's get these views up and nuke this from orbit. But here's the second clip. I've got 3 for you. And I want to show you what they're doing and how we counter this, because this is manipulation on a pretty high level. Check this out.
Are treaters of the sick and preservers of the healthy. So there really is nothing else that a group of physicians would rally behind other than saving lives.
This epidemic is uniquely American. Gun violence is a public health issue and a healthcare issue.
This is not Democratic or Republican. This is just protecting humans.
Sometimes you have to lose. Sometimes you have to push a boulder up a hill and it has to crash back down on you, but you won't succeed without ever trying.
Oh, that boulder is going to come back down because the American people are awake to your schemes. Let's just put it that way. Now, there's a few things in this clip that I want to hit on. There's a lot of manipulation because this is coming directly from Bloomberg. Now, notice the first thing that I really wanted to say, driving home the epidemic and making it a health-focused problem. It's not a health-focused problem. You have gangs, you have criminals, they are inflicting harm on others. That's not a healthcare problem. You're talking about crime. Democrats aren't very good on crime. Lefties aren't very good on crime because there's a record and proof that it does not work. Their policies lead to more of these things. It just so happens they use the exact same outcomes to push more of their policies. It's kind of like socialism. They just didn't do it right the first time. So you just got to add more and more and more control, and eventually they'll find it, but they never seem to. Exactly the same thing. That's the first point. The second thing that I want to say, and this is something that you want to watch out for whenever they do these types of pieces. When they say, well, this isn't a Democrat issue or a Republican issue, it just so happens that everything that we're advocating is directly aligned to the far left. But this isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. It's about saving humans. Yeah, that's why we have police forces that haven't been defunded. That's why we actually have the ability to curtail crime in areas that actually believe in that. But again, this is all manipulation and propaganda. When they tell you it's not Democrat or Republican, check where their politics are aligned to, and you'll usually find it's directly aligned to the left. Just saying. Now, that's the second one, and this is where the author of this on Bearing Arms, comes out a little bit more with some other points and then some refuting points. There are more lies and claims in that video. Gun violence is a public health issue and a healthcare issue. Motor vehicle accidents are no longer the number one cause of death in children. According to the Gun Violence Archive, it was one of 647 mass shootings that took place in 2022. The rates of gun violence are only going up. We do know that gun safety policies, such as an assault weapon ban, background checks, waiting periods, licensing requirements, the most gun owners actually support, do save lives. We've countered all of those on our channel every single day they've come up. Every single one of them. But I like what he said here in a very succinct little paragraph. Gun violence is not a public health issue. It's something to be addressed by criminologists, sociologists, and lawyers. Motor vehicle accidents are still the number one cause of death in children if you use the traditional definition of children. The Gun Violence Archive is a propaganda tool. Their definition of mass shooting is designed to inflate the numbers. The rates of gun violence went down after the pandemic spike. That is exceedingly well said. Now that leads me into my next one. This next clip, this one, yeah, just watch.
We have seen that when we take public health approaches, that we save lives. Motor vehicle accidents are no longer the number one cause of death of children because of safer cars and car seats. We can use that same public health approach to discuss guns and gun safety legislation and create meaningful change.
Skirt. Remember one of the things that is a constant on this channel? When you hear things that are exactly the exact phrase, the exact same tone, delivered in the exact same way, create meaningful change. Yeah, you don't hear Republicans saying that. Democratic politicians, leftist politicians, they use that exact same phrase in the exact same cadence to create meaningful change. Gavin Newsom says that. These are all aligned to the left, and they're masquerading as it's a common sense for all of us. That's important to note. Now, the other thing that really bugs me about this entire thing is when they go and compare it to tobacco, and they use we can use the public safety angle to really affect meaningful change. They went after tobacco, which is not a Second Amendment right or any amendment right. Then they went after seat belts, which, again, cars are not a right. They do this thing, it's mind-boggling. But that's what they've done. This entire thing is propaganda. We're calling it out right now. So there's that. And this last piece, I like the way that they said this too, because it actually states hard facts about the AARP. As for the gun safety policies that doctors are selling, none of those have strong evidence of salutary effect. Even the formerly nonpartisan, but now with openly partisan left-wing analyst, RAND Corporation says so. So what's the doctor's end game here? AAP's guidelines suggest that the best advice is not to have a gun in the home. Well, that doesn't sound too common sense and truly American, does it? That almost sounds like disarmament. Beware of a wolf in sheep's clothing. They are masquerading around with lab coats and doctor's coats saying this is for your safety. It's not a Democratic or a Republican issue. I just happen to align everything I do and the outcome and the goals stated with the liberals. That's just coincidence. I've also used health as a way to affect meaningful change in the past, so let's do it with tobacco, we've done it with car seats, and now we can do it with guns. The entire point of me doing this video is they are full bore going after this propaganda lie. And we're going to counter it right here. So Bearing Arms, I'll be your Huckleberry. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the official response, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.